How we doing? I am your host, Robert T. Gardner Jr., also known as Dr. Rob. Welcome to Station BOB. And let me tell you a little about thee. I am a kid from a Harlem hood who turned out good. I got educated like I should. Now I know how to help you grow to become the best of your being in life, love, and work. With that said, I am here to provide you with some clarity associated with the perplexity of the challenges in your life, love, and work. So, without further ado, let's get down on it. Enjoy the show. Yes. How we doing, my friend? Welcome back to Station B-O-B, where you listen to learn how to become the best of your being in life, love, and work. And of course, I am your host, Dr. Rob. What's going on? You know, we're rolling into the spring. Well, we're deep into the spring. We're rolling into the summer, if you will. I'm just kind of wondering because we had, I live in the Northeast, and so we had the winter that wasn't. Then we had a cold spring, and the prognosticators say that we're going to have a very, very hot summer. Well, I hope that's only in temperature and not in violence and craziness with all the stuff that's going around today. But anyway, how you doing? I'm doing fine, best I can, and I'm always glad to be here with you. And so let's get the ball rolling on the topic of today. Today's topic of the podcast is, if an alpha man is jealous and insecure, is he an alpha man? Now, for the record, let me provide a definition of what an alpha man is supposed to be. Typically, alphas are described as, the real men. The alpha male is a man who is highly intelligent, confident. That's what I'm really talking about here. Not so much the intelligence intellectually, but it's the confidence, and they're also successful. But for this discussion, the focus is having to do with the alpha man being bold and self-confident. That's what I'm really talking about here, because I have an interesting take, as the topic describes. If an alpha man is jealous and insecure, is he an alpha man? And so if you're jealous and insecure, how can you be bold and self-confident? So that's really the quagmire here, if you will. And so before I take a deep dive into this discussion today, I want to say that I chose to talk about this topic because I hear so much and so often about men who seem to me at least to talk loud or to purport their manliness all over the place. These types are usually referred to as alpha men. And personally, I think this term is thrown around and used too loosely as it applies to men of, the type of men that I just described. And this is because quite often, as I congregate with other male counterparts and watch reality TV, and you see these images of men who are, relatively successful. Some of them are self-proclaimed alpha males, or and they say this as if it's like, hey, I'm an alpha man, and that makes me the top dog in this town, in your town too, okay? And so, as I said, some of these people are self-proclaimed alpha males, or have been dubbed as alpha males by, by women or their cohorts. And so as I look beneath the shallow surface of so many of these individuals, I see real men who are so lacking of what an alpha man is defined as, of which I previously described. And that is what has drawn me to this topic. If an alpha man or male is jealous and insecure, is he an alpha man? That is the question, at least for me. And so, like I said, I see these same so-called alpha men behave in ways that are more like, scared, insecure, lacking of trust in their women, almost like little puppies. It's shameful as far as I'm concerned. And with that said, it is important to understand that words do matter. At least they matter to me. As I mentioned earlier, as I watch some of these reality TV shows like Ready to Love, Put a Ring on It, The Housewives of Atlanta, Love and Marriage in Huntsville, I can go on and on. But typically, the characters on these programs, these so-called alpha men, they run, some of them 6 feet tall or better, and some of them under 6 feet, usually with muscular builds, physiques, if you will, which I guess makes some men, feel, an extra sense of alpha, super terrestrial powers or something, I don't know. And so, on the surface, you see alpha, but in reality, I see insecurity and a lack of feeling good about oneself, which totally negates this mask of alpha malehood. And see, the reason why I point this out, because in my profession as a therapist, these are the things that I see. I'm interested in emotional intelligence also. That's like I have a passion for emotional intelligence. So these kind of things, they just shine bright to me when I see that the qualities of of confidence and feeling secure about oneself and having trust, these things, they shine bright in my eyes, because I know that is the key to, to being an alpha male. Never mind being an alpha male, just being a well put together male. And so, so in talking about this, please understand that what I'm doing here, this is not a bashing of men, as I too am a man. Instead, this is more of a telling of the truth, of which I tend to align myself with, as opposed to these, fake societal status terms that do not, quite frankly, do not mean shit. But, these somehow fuel the inner strength of some people looking for alternative ways to feel good about themselves. But I want you to remember that we do not do negativity here at Station BOB. We do truth and positivity. Yet, sometimes the truth sounds negative because it can hurt so much. But the truth is the truth because it is true. And that is why the truth will set you free. Okay? So please understand, I am into looking at the truth about life, the truth about social constructs, and the real truth about how we postulate these social norms as if this is a thing. And some of this is not a thing. It is just something that we live by because we sometimes do not look beyond the surface of things that sound good to us. And so we postulate. Now, postulate is a good word here. And for the record, to postulate means to suggest or assume the existence, the fact or truth of something as a basis for reasoning or discussion on some belief. And that is what we do when we so loosely refer to loud people as alpha males and or females. Now, in your head, you might be saying, Dr. Rob, what does this all mean? Why are you even talking about this? And to that, I would say, I'm talking about this because it is necessary in order to help understand that these fake terms, alpha male, he's a king, these things don't mean a damn thing. And many people are running around saying they are kings, or women want to take care of their kings. Hey, kings are not good people. Real kings do what they want to who they want, good or bad. And the history of kings will show you that. Now, it may be good to be the king, but it is not good to be controlled by a king. Now, you go tell that, if you will. And so, I see many who are referred to as alpha men. Underneath that bravado is not an alpha male at all. Again, the question is, if an alpha man is jealous and insecure, is he an alpha man? And I say the answer to that is a resounding hell to the no. Okay? And now I, too, have been referred to as an alpha male. But I think I fall into a different category than the alpha male. And I'm going to share that with you on the other side of the break. I have to let a promo in, and we'll pick up the discussion on the other side of the break.
Have you read any good books lately? Your host, Robert T. Gardner Jr., also known as Dr. Rob, is the author of 3 great books. In his first book, The Choices We Make, Robert takes a look at relationships to help readers learn how to have a good relationship with themselves before they can have good relationships with others. In his second book, Access Denied, Robert brings an eye-opening perspective about what happens to children and fathers when their relationships with the mothers of their children end on bad terms. Robert explores what he calls child porn, when a parent, usually the mother, uses a child as a weapon to hurt the other parent. Robert provides a let-go lab in his book to help parents find positive ways to resolve their issues in the best interest of their children. Light Up Your Life is Robert's latest book. Robert writes about the fact that we are all born with a special God-given talent. Even though we are all born with a special talent, most of us miss our true calling. In this book, you will learn how to find your special talent and light up your life so that you can become the person you were born to be and live a more fulfilled, purpose-driven life. Books are available at barnesandnobles.com, amazon.com, and Robert's website, relationshipreadiness.org. Thank you, and back to the show.
All right. Welcome back. Okay. And so to continue on with our discussion, just prior to stepping aside to let the promo in, I was talking about the fact that I, too, have been referred to as an alpha male. And so, at first, I was even saying to myself, what is an alpha male? It sounded good, but I had no idea what it really was. So I looked into it. And then I started seeing the term being used all over the place. Everybody's an alpha male. But everybody is not an alpha male. Even when you are considered to be an alpha male, you are not an alpha male. You see, that's what this discussion is about. And so, anyway, as for myself, speaking about Dr. Rob in the context as an alpha male, I would have to say that I would describe myself a little differently, I debunk that description because I do not, I don't enjoy being boxed into these social norms, societal terms that we seek, for some type of status amongst our peers or even with ourselves. So if I had to describe myself in one of these terms, I would be more of an omega male, one who is doesn't feel the need to compete or conform to traditional gender roles and stereotypes. Yes, that is me. An omega man has his own way of doing things, and he is not afraid to be himself regardless of what others think. Now that, I could be boxed into that corner. That is a description of who Dr. Rob is. I may appear to be alpha, but I am omega. Now, as I said, that is who Dr. Rob is. And as a matter of fact, that's who I've always been. Even as a little boy growing up in the projects in Harlem, USA, I have always not been afraid to do something different, despite the peer pressure and the heavy criticism I received from my friends for taking stands, not to do some of the crazy things we did as youngins growing up in the projects. I was definitely an omega man, an omega male, even as a little boy. But back to the question of, if an alpha male is jealous and insecure, is he an alpha man? And as I said, the answer for me would be no, because of what the definition of an alpha man is, as I described earlier in this podcast. And so the bottom line here is that I believe we use so many of these manly, masculine terms so much, and in so many cases, these terms just do not apply to all men who present as strong on the outside with muscular physiques and loud voices, but also do not present themselves as very strong on the inside. And that, my friend, is the key. How do you, as an alpha man, present on the inside? If the inside is half-baked and filled with emotional deficits of lack of trust, feelings of insecurity and jealousy, then you fall well outside of the purview of an alpha man, who, as defined, means that alphas are typically described as highly intelligent, confident, bold, successful. But I'm not really talking about the success or the intelligence. The point of this discussion is one of the main characteristics of an alpha man is confidence, self-confidence. And so if you're lacking in trust, feeling insecure, or the jealous type, that's a severe contradiction to being self-confident. And so the crazy thing about all of this stuff regarding manhood, to me, is more mythical than realistic. And it is imperative that we know what we need to know. We as men are human beings, and there is nothing superhuman about a man other than society has given man a head start, if you will, a boost with an assortment of social constructs that promote and present men as perhaps a special type of human being. But none of this hype is viable if an alpha male or a regular man is not properly boosted with emotional well-being from the inside out. And so to be a real alpha man, do the work to increase your self-esteem, and that will enhance your self-confidence. Take the time to mend with a D, your inner being, in order to live up to the true meaning of an alpha man. Heck, if you're going to be an alpha man, then be an alpha man. With that said, I'm going to leave it right there, my friend. I think the point has been made. As I said, this is not a male bashing, but a truth telling, as I said. Truth telling can feel like a bashing, but if you receive it, that is when you could appreciate it for what it really is. Merely a truth telling. So thanks again, my friend, for tuning in. Until we meet again, remember, life is good, even when it ain't. And love is an action, not a word. And it's not supposed to hurt. Peace. As we wrap up this show, I hope this topic helped you to grow. And now you know a little bit more than you knew before. If you have any questions about this topic, please email me at changeagentrtg@gmail.com. See my website, relationshipreadiness.org, to learn more about my counseling, consulting, and educational programs related to life, love, and work. Finally, in the words of the late, great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., if I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody he is traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. Until we meet again, do the right thing when nobody is looking. Peace, beloved.